Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who taught us this truth. And Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. Hey, the scripture says that it will be uproars of the people, man. All right.
The Trump administration's immigration crackdown and ICE surge in the Twin Cities drew large protests today.
It was part of a general strike and walkout backed by labor leaders and faith groups. Special correspondent Fred DeSam Lazaro begins our coverage with this report from Minneapolis.
ICE out! ICE out! Thousands of people braved bone-chilling temperatures this afternoon for a rally in downtown Minneapolis, protesting what they call a siege of the Twin Cities by federal agents. For many here and throughout the Twin Cities, Renee Nicole Good has become an icon, the 37-year-old mother of three.
Hey, and it is like a siege. All right. You got this devil surrounding different cities with his ICE agents. All right. That's like a siege. But real quick, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, and verse 3. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, all right, and I believe it was just an earthquake. Here, let me see. I know I had looked at it earlier. I think it was a 4-point somewhere. Was it this one? Let's see. I think that's it. I don't know if that's Cali or. Let's see. I think it was this one. Yeah, 4.7 magnitude earthquake in Wyoming. Right. The same day you had a 6.2 earthquake in Russia. Right. The day before that you had a 6.1 in Tokyo, Japan. Okay. .4 in the Philippines. This is all this month. All from the 20th, going all the way back, to the 19th. All right. All right. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, all right, and this is an example of uproars, all right, different protests. Okay, protesting for what? Because of ICE, right, laying or besieging their cities. All right, the scriptures tell us how they're basically going to enter into your homes, man. All right, and that's the new talk, for lack of better words. That's what's being spoken about now. How ICE has the authority to come into your houses. Okay, matter of fact, let's get that. grab that real quick. All right, Second Ezra 16 and verse 72. It says I'm gonna start at verse 71. All right, because these are the signs of the times, man. All right, and these things are increasing. These evils, all right, they are increasing. I'm gonna start at verse 70. Second Ezra 16 and verse 70. It says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord." All right, because ultimately this is what, or these agents, they're looking after Jake, man. They're coming after Jake. All right, the northern kingdom. All right, and also the southern kingdom. All right. Verse 71, it says, they shall be like mad men, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Okay? As I said earlier, they're going to be coming into Jake's houses, man, without a warrant or with a administrative warrant, right? Something that's not signed by a judge. Verse 72, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. All right. And that's what we're talking about, man. All right. That's what the prophets of the Lord have been speaking about, even before these things have taken place. Right. Before you start to see these things the way you're seeing them now, the men of the Lord, starting off with our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, they've been prophesying about this.
37-year-old mother of three was shot by an ICE officer in Minneapolis 2 weeks ago. Her image now appears widely throughout the Twin Cities. Annie Rose co-owns the Lost Fox, a downtown St. Paul cafe that's a quiet refuge from all the tension outside.
Renee Good is the face of it. It's a face that people can feel comfortable with. She's a woman, she was a mother, she was white, and it's something that we can come back to and say, oh, they came for my neighbors and then they came for me. Well, that is something that we can all resonate with.
Today she closed the place, even though it's tough to lose a Friday evening's revenue in the slowest month of the year, she says.
It's already hard out here. Every January I take out a no-interest credit card to make sure I can make payroll. This year I'm going to probably have to pay interest on that credit card.
Across the metro area, hundreds of small businesses, especially restaurants, heeded a call to observe a general strike, many in sympathy with immigrant-owned shops where business has plummeted sharply amid fears of ICE patrols. Schools in the area also closed today. Labor unions led the call for the general strike, but the decision was made easier by today's life-threatening low temperatures. Still, Annie Rose said she felt compelled to brace them.
It's all fear-based. You're afraid to go to rallies, whether it's cold, you're afraid to go to rallies because you don't want to be shot. You're afraid to stand up for things because of fear. And how can you live your life if you're constantly in fear?
Hey, and all right, but this is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." All right, these are perilous times. Perilous meaning dangerous, man. Okay, you're afraid to walk to rallies because you may get mugged, right? You're afraid to walk to rallies because you may get shot. You're afraid to walk to your store because ICE may think you one of them, and you already know, right? I was seeing these little shorts talking about how ICE got they got their own little police cars now. Okay? So this thing is it's really moving, man. Like this devil is really moving. But it says this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, right? They want what you got. Okay? Boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful and unholy, without natural affection, right? Somebody be going upside your head and nigga walk right past. Or worse, they'll record the shit, right? Without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitor, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure, or lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay?
It's important to show my kids that no, you can stand up for what you believe in.
Protesters marched about a mile through downtown Minneapolis to the indoor basketball arena. The DHS gave no signs today of easing up on its surge on the Twin Cities in the days ahead. On Thursday, Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino was asked if there's a number of arrests agents were targeting.
There is a number, and it's called all of them.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said,
Yeah, and I wanted to add the reason why it's perilous times, all right, is because the wicked is ruling the earth, man. All right, that's the reason why it's perilous times. So real quick, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. I'm gonna start at verse 11. It says, "And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many." All right, this is what's going to be taking place at the end. All right, and the elders ordained this year, the year of false prophets, sellouts, and what was it? And agents. All right, Salakia, and he threw in there Jacob's trouble as well. All right, but these things are being exposed. These people are being exposed, the false teachers. Okay, all these podcasters, right? All the Antons. All right. Verse 12, it says, "And because iniquity shall abound," which is to grow. And why is iniquity growing? All right, because the law, statutes, and commandments of the Holy Scriptures, they're not practiced here in this land. Furthermore, they're not practiced in the earth. Okay, because the rulers, okay, or the kings of the earth, they're not the righteous. And the Scripture says that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. All right, hence the reason you have all these different protests taking place all over the globe. All right, if it's not about food they're protesting about, it's about wars. Okay, if it's not about wars, it's about the kidnapping of their children or their family members. Right, if it's not about that, it's about the jobs. If it's not about the jobs, it's about the wages. Right, so it says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." Right, so the natural affection that one would have for another, right, that's going to wax cold, meaning it's not going to be there, right? There is not going to be no help you across the street, right? Give you a jump if you need a jump. There ain't going to be no, hey man, you got 20 cents I can borrow, man, or you got $1 or $5, I just need a couple tanks of gas, right? Those days are over. Why? Because we are living in evil times, man. All right.
10,000, quote, criminal illegal aliens have been arrested here, a sharp spike from the start of the week when the agency put the figure at 3,000. But the department has released details of far fewer cases, which it calls the worst of the worst. All this comes at a time of rising public scrutiny. ICE officers detained a 5-year-old boy on Tuesday.
Hey, and that's why you don't get involved in shit, right? Because I was looking at some of the people that they were saying that they had got off the streets or whatever, however. A lot of pedophiles and shit, man. Right? A lot of sex offenders. Here it is, you out there, oh my God, we don't want these people here, blah, blah. Or you can't do this, you can't do that. Whole time, you don't know what's going on. Right? I just did a lesson earlier about how this man is the sword of the Lord. And you basically going against this devil is fighting against the Lord, man. Right? Going on to follow not a multitude to do evil, right? You don't know what you're doing. Right? You better mind your fucking business and keep it moving. Right? Hey, the scriptures say, meddle not. Right? Or you gonna be you get the same shit, man.
During an immigration enforcement operation. At a press conference today, Marcos Charles, the head of ICE's deportation branch, said the boy was being cared for.
We do everything in our power not to separate families. So they took him back together to Minneapolis, here to the city, to the ICE.
Hey. Hence, he said we do everything in our power not to separate families, right? Hence, Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Right? Outside of that, we don't want to separate no families, but we will come and kidnap your motherfucker, kidnap you and your wife. I'm just saying, man.
Facility for processing, and now they are being well cared for at a family residential center.
This is what community looks like. On Thursday, 3 prominent civic activists were arrested after an anti-ICE protest at a St. Paul church.
And look, like, what the fuck is you doing? Ain't got nothing to do with you. Right? You don't look Hispanic or none of that.
White House later posted an AI-manipulated image of one woman to its social media account. When asked about the image, Kaylin Dorr, the White House Deputy Communications Director, wrote, "Enforcement of the law will continue. The memes will continue." At a separate anti-ICE rally today, roughly 100 people, including members of clergy, were arrested after protesting outside a terminal at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport.
I am slowly losing hope, and that is a problem, and that's what keeps me up at night. But then I go to rallies, like you asked why I'm going to go to the rally, and that is to see hope in process.
For the PBS NewsHour, this is Fred DeSam Lazaro in Minneapolis.
Hey, just a minute before you move on. I want to say thank you for watching and for supporting us. It's you, all of our viewers, our readers, and our listeners who make everything that we do possible. So thank you from everyone here at...
All right, I'm going to close on this. This is the book of 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16. It says, "For there should be sedition among men and invading one another." All right? Like ICE coming into your house. All right? But this is a different type of scenario here. This is a different section of the movie, a different scene. All right? It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power," man. Matter of fact, here, Salaki, I got to start up. This verse 15, 2 Ezra 15 and 15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." All right? And Esau, Edom's blessing, is the sword. Okay? He is the sword of the Lord. Okay? Everything that he creates is centered around death. Okay? From the fruits with no seeds in it that are created in the lab. Okay? It is centered around death. From that to whatever else you can think of. It says, and one people shall stand up against another. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right. Your ICE and your civilians. Okay. Your ICE and your law enforcement. Your other side of the law enforcement. Right. Your different civil wars. Okay. Your different race wars. These are the things that are prophesied to happen in the scriptures, man. All right. And these are the things that we are witnessing take place bit by bit. Okay. Section by section. It says, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, which is the modern day gun. Okay. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, man. All right. So them not regarding their kings or princes is them not listening to their authorities. All right. A man shall desire to go to a city and shall not be able, right? Because when all hell starts to break loose and things get out of control, they're going to shut the cities down, right? You're not there. It's called control movement, right? Nobody's going past here. We already know where everybody's at. Y'all all over here. Why? Because we got this whole side blocked off. We know ain't nobody over here. We done combed this bitch, right? We know everybody's over here, all right? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, right? Hey, the Lord is coming to bring all the pride, all the proud low. All right. And America is the most proudest of them all, man. All right. Hence the reason why all these different plagues are taking place over here, man. All right. It says a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy the houses or their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, man. All right. So there's a lot of destruction and woes coming to Babylon the Great, man. We are watching, we are witnessing, right, in real time, these different destructions take place, man. All right. So Lord willing, you are edified. I just want to do something quick on this, man. All right. In closing, I want to say, call Halayim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Hakorash. Hey, double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Hey, until next time, Shalom.